Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Joy White. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please, if this is the first time you're checking on my channel, kindly hit on that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you. So guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I made this Bubu gown you're seeing on your screen. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So I've folded my fabric into two already. We'll be cutting the front and the back together. So I'm going to start by taking the shoulder measurement, which I've just taken, and now I'm going to take the center back measurement. So you're going to place your tape at the center back and take it to where you want the sleeve to stop. So this is a cut together Bubu dress. So now I've taken the measurement I want. So at this point I am going to come down from the shoulder slope with 1.5, which I've just done, and I'll connect it to the neck point. So after doing that, I'm going to be taking the neck width. So the neck width I'm working with is 4.5. I'll go ahead and just mark it down 4.5. And for the neck depth, I am going to come down with 1 inch. Yes, the 1 inch is for the back of this dress we're working with. So I'm not taking the neck depth for the front. So that 1 inch I came down with is just for the back. So after doing that, the next thing I will do is to connect what I have, the neck width and the neck depth. I'll just connect it. So the next thing I'm going to do after doing that, we're going to be taking our shoulder to the bust measurement. So the shoulder to the bust I'm working with is 12 inches, which I've just taken. So after marking the shoulder to the bust, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to mark the shoulder to the waist measurement. So I'm just trying to chalk it down so that you see what we are doing. So this fabric has multi-color, so it's difficult for you to see what I am chalking, but I'm going to do my best to ensure that I chalk it well so that the lines are actually very visible. At this point, the next thing I'm going to do is to take the shoulder to the hip point. So I'm going to put down the shoulder to the hip point I'm working with. I am going to be marking out the sleeve measurement followed by the round sleeve that we are working with. So the center back measurement is what I am taking where the sleeve is going to stop. So I'll go ahead and connect it. And from the shoulder slope, I'm going to take the round sleeve I'm working with. So I'm going to be maintaining the shoulder to the bust point. That is the bust point line. I'm going to maintain that for the round sleeve. So now the next thing we're going to do is to impute our measurement. So the measurement we're working with, I'm going to be using the bust divided by 4 plus 3 inches. So I don't want this dress to be too big. So I'm going to be adding 3 inches to the measurement. Bust divided by 4 plus 3 inches. So I'll come over to the waist and divide the waist measurement by 4. So whatever figure I get, I put it down, and I'm going to be adding 3 inches to what I've gotten. So these 3 inches I'm adding, the seam allowance is inclusive in these 3 inches I am adding. So I'm going to be using 1 inch for the seam allowance. So we'll be left with 2 inches for ease for this Bubu dress. So on the hip line, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'll impute the hip divided by 4 plus 3 inches. So after doing that, I'm going to be connecting what we have from the hip to the waistline and to the bust points. I actually don't want this dress to be too big. If not, we would have added 4 inches or 5 inches to our measurement. So it all depends on how big you want your Bubu dress to be. So I just want this to just be a moderate Bubu. So I'll go over to the hip measurement, the hip line. Whatever figure I get on the hip, I am going to take it down to the hem. So the next thing I will do is to connect it from the hem to the hip, to the waist, and to the bust point. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and curve out the sleeve area. So this is what I'm just going to do. Just use your free hand and just curve it out this way. So after doing that, I am going to go ahead and cut out all that we have drafted out. So I'm going to cut it out this way. I'll cut out the neckline, and I'm also going to cut the shoulder slope. So after doing that, this is what we have for the front and for the back. So guys, now we are done with the back. We're going to be keeping the back aside and work with just the front. So the next thing I'm going to do, remember we have taken the shoulder, the neck width. So now we're going to, from the shoulder point, I am going to place my tape on the shoulder and come down with 12 inches. 12 inches, 11.5 is actually okay. So we're marking out the collar now. So I'm going to mark out 3 inches. You can mark as 2.5 or 3 inches. It depends on what you want, how wide you want the collar to be. So after marking out the 3 inches, I'm just going to chalk it down from the top to the bottom, the 3 inches. And then I am going to use my ruler to connect the lines that I have together. Take it from the hem to the top. So when I get to that point where we came down, that's 12 inches, I am not going to mark it out straight. I'm going to connect it. See the way I'm placing my ruler to the neck width. I'm going to place it this way, and I am going to draw out my lines and connect it. So this is what it's going to look like after connecting it. So at this point, I am going to cut it out. I'm going to just cut out. We don't need this part again. Remember, we have another fabric in front. So after cutting it out, this is what our front is looking like. Can you see it? So this is for both sides of the front. I just want to place it side by side so that you see how it is looking like. So now the next thing we're going to do at this point, we don't need this again. We're going to keep that aside. So now after doing that, I am going to be using a lining for this Bubu dress I am working with. So I've already gone ahead to cut out the lining that I am going to be working with. So I've cut out the lining for the front part, and I also cut out the lining for the back part. So what I will do is just to go ahead and sew down using 1/2 inch. So you're going to be sewing it down before cutting out the collar. So I'll quickly go ahead and go to my machine and sew down the front and the back using 1/2 inch. So after sewing it down, this is what it's looking like. Can you see it? I've sewn it, and I'm also going to go ahead and sew down the shoulder. I've not sewn the shoulder yet, so I'm going to be placing my fabric this way to sew down the shoulder point. So I'll go ahead and sew using fabric to fabric and lining to lining on this shoulder point. So for the neckline, we're not going to be turning the neckline. Remember, we are going to be attaching our collar to it. So after sewing it down, this is what the shoulder point is looking like. The next thing we're going to do is to measure out the round from the hem. Now we're going to measure out what we'll be needing for the collar. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly measure it. After doing that, whatever figure I get, I'm going to use it to cut out the fabric I'll be needing. So after cutting it out, this is what we have. So now I'm just going to arrange it and place it side by side so that it is equal. So another thing I did was that I added an interfacing to it, a soft interfacing, just to make this fabric have a bit of structure. So now from this shoulder point, I am going to take 12 inches down. So after marking out the 12 inches, I'm going to measure out what the width of what I have there. So what I have is 7 inches. So I'm going to chalk it down. So from that point, I'm going to mark out 3.5, half of the 7 inches, and I will take it down. So I'm going to connect it with my chalk and rule it out. We're trying to get the midpoint of our fabric. So this is it. I've marked it from the neck point, the 12 inches I took. You take it down, you mark outwards 3.5 downwards. So I'm going to go ahead, take it to my machine and sew it from that 12 inches. So at this point, I'm going to place my fabric together, both fronts. We're working with the front. Don't forget we're still on the front. So I'm going to place it together this way. We're trying to get the midpoint, that is the center back. So this is the center back. I am going to go ahead and notch this center back because we're going to be attaching our collar. From that center back, we're going to be attaching our collar. So this is our collar. I've already gone ahead to sew it down. Can you see it? After sewing it down, I turned it out and I went ahead to iron it. So this is what your collar should look like after ironing it. So now at this point, I'm going to place it together. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm still going to notch the center back. So this is the center back. That notch is very important to enable you to do what? Align both notches together. So now at this point, I'm going to get my fabric I'm working with. This is our Bubu dress. And we'll go ahead and open it up. We're trying to locate that notch. So Now I'm going to place my collar. Remember, we notched the center back for our collar, so I'm going to place them right sides facing each other. Actually, the collar is right side already, so you're just going to place both notches together, pin it down, and sew down. Sew from one end to the other end. So after sewing it, this is what our collar is looking like. Can you see it? I've gone ahead to attach the same fabric at the hem of the sleeve. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn this fabric for you to see what the inner is looking like. So this is what we have on the inner. So don't forget, you're going to be using your weaving machine to weave down the collar around the collar that you have sewn. So now I'm going to be doing joining the side using 1 inch that was added to it. I'll take it to my machine and join the side using 1 inch, and when I'm done, I'm going to give it a good press and show you what this dress is looking like on the mannequin. So guys, this is what we have for our Bubu dress, our moderate Bubu dress. Yes, so this is what we have. So I've gone ahead to add stone to it. I just went ahead to add stones to it. So this is what it's looking like, guys. Very simple and easy to make our moderate Bubu dress. So this is what we have for it. So please, if you find this tutorial helpful, don't forget to hit on that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. Like and share this video, make your comments. Till our next tutorial again, we'll be doing something else. Thank you so much for watching.